Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, instructor of ANI 150, and we're in Module 3, Part 3 of our video for modeling, low poly modeling our weapon. So it's kind of a misconception out there that you have to model everything from one piece. That's not the case. In fact, I prefer that you don't do that. And in fact, I think the industry prefers that as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead instead of the thing is I do want to follow the what the shape is here. So we could easily go in there and create another 8-sided polygon, and that's what we'll do. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's go ahead and scale that down and rotate it into place and move it. And we'll go ahead and build off of this piece right here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just move these vertices around, getting them into place. I'm going to use both views here, kind of get an idea where I'm at here, because sometimes it's hard to tell. And let's go ahead and move those up a little bit. Here we go. Okay. Move this piece up. I'm looking at the perspective and the other views here to get a better look at what I've got going on here. And then the bottom piece, we'll select that. And again, we got a lot of wireframe stuff going on here. If I hit the 5 key, I'm able to kind of see what I'm looking at here in the front view. So I'm going to go right about there and move this piece up like that. There we go. Great. And now we just need to get the thickness right on this. Let's go ahead and select these vertices. I move those back. Okay. Alright, so we're kind of stuck in there. Let's go ahead and move the whole thing out. Make sure we're flush. There we go. That's good. Yeah, that was pretty good. Alright, see the thickness here again. Okay, so I'm going to do some artistic freedom here. I think this needs to come up a little bit. That looks pretty good. And I do want to bevel this, not bevel it like you think I'm saying. I'm going to just kind of scale this part in just to give it some depth. Just a little bit, just a smidgen. There we go. Just kind of so that goes in just a little bit. Go to the front view and just make sure we're getting that right. So it's even all around. There we go, that looks good. Perspective view, that looks good. I'm going to bring that in just a little bit more. There we go. And so the next faceplate, I move that in, give it a little more depth. Next faceplate, Control D, we're going to move that out. And we're going to scale that. And we're going to place that on there. Let's go ahead and scale that in a little bit more. And move that up. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And I think I want to make this square, so we're getting kind of something a little bit different here. Square this off a little bit. There we go. And then we got one more face plate, looks like. So I'm going to go Control D, duplicate that, move that out. And this will be something a little bit smaller. And we're going to make this actually flat and square. So I'm going to select all the vertices from the side view and get that square again. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit, move that out, and then scale this back up again. So we're going to kind of square that off. Here we go. And we're going to go ahead and scale this down. I'm going to go ahead and get the pivot point in the middle. I don't think that's in the middle. There we go. And scale that down a bit. There we go. There we go. Move that up. And I'm going to move that down into that other piece. There we go. Okay, so that's good. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a pipe. So we're going to go to pipe. We don't see a pipe in here, so I'm going to go to NURBS primitives, or excuse me, polygon primitives, not NURBS. Polygon primitives, and go to pipe. And because this is you're going to be seeing the end of this, we're going to go a little higher on subdivisions than we normally do. And I think 20 is fine. Smooth that out so you can kind of see what's going on here. I know that seems like a lot of subdivisions, but I'm okay with that. Most of the game engines will handle way more than what we're giving it right now. In fact, I could probably subdivide this and be fine. But right now we're going to go in here and let's go ahead and mess with the thickness. Okay, this is where the projectile will come out. So how thick do we want to make it? We don't want it to look like a toy, so it's really important that we don't go too thin or too thick on that. The thicker things are and the chunkier things are, they look weird. So be careful with that when you're modeling. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and scale that down a little bit and see what it looks like. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and rotate around. And let's get that placed. There we go. Okay, and you can see that we've got that tapered a little bit at the end. So let's go ahead and add that. Okay, let's get that a little bit bigger. Okay, and let's go ahead and scale that down a little bit, like that. And move it into place. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull that out a little bit more. And then we're going to go ahead and scale the end down like that. That looks good. And let's move that in. That's a mighty big hole. Projectile's pretty big. Let's go to the top views. Go ahead and center this. Center the pivot point. And let's use the grid snap so I can snap that into place. So you can see the grid snaps up there at the top. And that's just really not fitting very well. So I'm going to go ahead and, again, artistic freedom to bring this down so it will actually fit over the faceplate better. Let's go ahead and turn off grid snap. Alright, I think that looks better. Okay. Alright, so we've got an inside piece, so we need to get rid of that. Actually, I don't need to get rid of that. I can go in here. Let's go ahead and fix that. I'm going to go ahead and fix that part right there. Control 1, that'll isolate it. And this is the thing I need to fix. So I'm going to show you something really cool with selection. So I'm going to go into the edge, double click on the edge. Okay, we can either scale this down, which is cool, right, to match, or I'm going to show you selection. So I'm going to go to select. I'm going to go to components. Let's see here, components. Oh, they changed stuff in here. Go to vertex. Yeah, no, that's not what it's supposed to do. Select, contiguous, convert selection, there it is. Convert selection to vertices. So I can do that. So if you ever want to convert something, you can do that. So you can actually convert it by going into, so if you select a face even, like let's click on that face and select that inside face, I can go to select and convert selection to vertices. That's really cool. Or edges. So select convert selection to edges. It's really slick. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. So instead of selecting all the vertices like one by one, right? It's hard to do that. So I can do edges. I can just select an edge, and you can scale down that way, or you can go into convert selection, convert to vertices, and you can go ahead and scale those down. But we can scale it down by just clicking on edge. So I just wanted to show you that tool. It's really cool. Let's go back into the front view and let's match the front up with the inside. Okay, I'm going to hit the 4 key so you can match the wireframe up. There we go. So that's perfectly flat. So that's what we're looking for. Okay, we're looking for this particular look. Okay, let's go ahead and do control 1 again. Okay, alright, so we really don't need, we don't really need to see all the way through into the gun, so that's really important. Let's go ahead and scale that in just a little bit more, just so we get a little bit of a distance there. Alright, that looks good. Let's go control D and move it down. This is our laser sight, so let's go ahead and scale that down quite a bit. Here we go. That looks good. Scale that down. And let's go ahead and add a little more distance. This needs to look a little bit different. Let's go ahead and scale that up just a little bit. And smooth that out a little bit. And let's go ahead and move the vertices back so it lays flat and it's kind of sticking out a little bit more. That's kind of cool. Okay. So it's smaller, but it's sticking out just as much. Here we go. Let's get that placed right. Perfect, right there. That's good. There we go, that looks good. We can even, let's go ahead and isolate this. This will be a thicker piece, so I'm going to go ahead and isolate that, control 1. And I'm going to select this edge and this inner edge. Hold down the shift key and select them both. And I'm going to go ahead and scale this in. I can't do uniform scale because it'll cause it to cave in on both sides, right? So what I can do is I can go in here and go to the front of this object and just scale this way manually, scaling that so it looks like that. Okay, that's good enough. So now you can see that keeps it flat. And then I'm going to create a low poly lens here, and we're just going to cut this in half. So I'm going to go to face. Let's go into a lower poly. That's way too much. We don't need that much. So let's go do something like 12 by 12. That sounds good. There we go. And that's still going to give us a lot of faces, but that's okay. I'll go ahead and move that. That'll be nice and smooth looking here. And we'll go ahead and scale that in. This will be our little piece that fits inside there. And let's go ahead and flatten that out like a lens. Flatten that out. Just like a lens, go into the front view and hit the 5 key so you can see where you're at here. Hit wireframe on shaded too, this will help. And get that in there like that. And we're going to go ahead and scale. Wireframe and shaded is right this guy right here. If I went too fast for you. Scale that down just so it fits in there like that. And we want it to fit inside. Okay, like that. So let's take a look at what we have here. Hit the F key to frame it. That looks great. I like that. Alright, so if we turn the wireframe on shaded off, you see that we have faceting. What if I say what faceting is? You see I don't have faceting here, right? But I have faceting here. So you can definitely see the faceting. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and delete by type history and freeze transformations, and then I'm going to move it out so we can see it better. There we go. So you can see faceting. So to remedy faceting, you can harden an edge or you can soften an edge. This is a hardened edge. So if I click on it, right click and go to edge mode, and then go to mesh display and soften edge. That's how you can soften that edge. So now it looks like nice and smooth. There we go. Pull that in. Perfect. It looks good. Control 1. Alright, so now it's looking really, really nice. Looks really good so far. Okay, sounds good. Alright, so what else? I think we're just about finished with this. There's a couple things we need to do, but I think that's pretty good. I think that's looking really good. Okay. Alright, so now we need to start working on oh, this doesn't look very good. So let me finish this up by doing this. Control E, move that down, scale that in a little bit like that, and scale it in a little bit like that. And now we've got something that looks a little bit nicer when we plop it back down again. There we go. That looks pretty good. Chunky, but it still looks good. Right. So now it looks like it fits a little bit better. Alright, so now we got a nice sight at the very end. We got this sight right here. We need to pull up a little bit more probably. Let's actually just go ahead and click on the vertices and move it up. There we go. One last thing is we need to extrude this into the other piece. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, or I can add a piece to it. Doesn't matter to me. So what I'm going to do is save this, save where we're at, I want everybody to save right now, so go ahead and save your work wherever you are. Okay, and then I'm going to isolate this, and I'm going to go ahead and extrude that piece in there. Alright, so let's go ahead and extrude, Control E, and we're going to extrude it in, believe it or not. So I'm going to click on one of these cubes right here, and then click on the center cube and extrude it in. Just like that. Control E, and let's just move it out like that. So we got a nice little division there. Do Control 1 again so we can see what's happening here. Alright, so not exactly working the way we want it to work. So I'm going to go to the side view, okay, and see where we're at here with this. Alright, so I'm going to click on this object. Again, I'm going to get rid of everything, so I'm going to, there we go. So now I'm going to just kind of move these vertices around, right? Easy to do. Okay, move those forward. Just get this centered right. Okay, so move those forward. Move this in. Okay, that looks good. So I just needed to go into the gun a little bit. So I'm going to take this guy, move that, whoops, just the end part here, move it down, so it's straight ahead like that. That looks good. Okay, let's move these in and straight ahead, just make sure they're nice and straight. Okay, so when we have shadows go through there, we'll be able to see those. Alright, so now we don't have any gaps or anything. If you have a large gap, that could be a problem. Don't want any gaps in here.